Japan doesn't just build homes, it fills them with objects that have been quietly solving problems, preserving culture, and improving daily life for centuries. A miniature tree that takes decades to grow and lives on a shelf in the living room. A machine on the kitchen counter with one single purpose that most Western households have never heard of. And a table with a heater built into the base and a thick blanket trapped underneath it that the entire family sits inside to stay warm. These aren't random additions to a home. They're deliberate, considered fixtures that have shaped the way Japanese families live for generations. Today, we're counting down 21 weird things hidden inside Japanese homes and exactly why they're there. Watch until the end because number 21, the Washitsu Tatami guest room, reveals how Japan turned an entire room into a living, breathing piece of cultural tradition. Number 1. Japanese bonsai tree. You've definitely seen one before, probably in a movie or sitting in the corner of a fancy restaurant. But inside a Japanese home, a bonsai tree isn't just decoration, it's a living practice. Bonsai is the ancient art of cultivating miniature trees through careful pruning, shaping, and patient care over years, sometimes even decades. The Japanese treat it as a meditative discipline, a way of slowing down and staying connected to nature even inside a modern apartment. Each tree tells a story. The twisted trunk, the carefully positioned branches, the exposed roots, all shaped intentionally by its owner over time. And here's what makes it genuinely fascinating. A well-maintained bonsai can live for hundreds of years and be passed down through generations like a family heirloom. It's not just a plant. It's a living piece of history sitting quietly on a windowsill, tended to daily, the same way someone else might tend to a garden. Except this one fits in the palm of your hand. Number 2. The mochi maker. Most Western kitchens have a toaster, maybe a coffee machine. Japanese kitchens have those too, but some also have a mochi maker. And once you understand what it does, you'll want one immediately. Mochi is a traditional Japanese food made from glutinous rice that's been steamed and pounded until it becomes an incredibly sticky, chewy, stretchy dough. Traditionally, making it required 2 people, a large wooden mallet, and serious physical effort. The mochi maker does all of that automatically. You pour in the rice, set the machine, and it steams and kneads everything into perfect mochi in under an hour. The result is soft, fresh, and completely different from the pre-packaged versions you find outside Japan. Eaten plain, wrapped around sweet bean paste, or dropped into a warm bowl of soup, fresh mochi has a texture unlike anything a Western kitchen typically produces. It's simple technology solving a labor-intensive tradition, and it fits right on the countertop. Number 3. Kotatsu table cover. Imagine a coffee table with a secret. That's essentially what a kotatsu is, and once you've used one, regular furniture feels incomplete. A kotatsu is a low wooden table with an electric heating element attached to its underside. A thick, heavy blanket sits over the frame, trapping all the warmth underneath. You sit on the floor, slide your legs beneath the blanket, and within minutes you're completely enveloped in gentle, dry heat, while the rest of the room stays at normal temperature. Japanese families use them constantly throughout winter, eating dinner, watching television, reading, studying, all done from underneath the kotatsu. It's so effective that there's actually a cultural phenomenon called kotatsu trap, where you get so comfortable you physically cannot motivate yourself to leave. The energy efficiency alone makes it remarkable. Instead of heating an entire room, you're heating only the space directly around your body. Japan solved winter comfort with one low table and a blanket. If you're enjoying this so far, go ahead and tap like. It tells YouTube you want more of Japan's clever, everyday innovations. And if you love discovering things you didn't even know existed, hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest of this list. Trust me, the next ones are even cooler. Number 4, Noren curtain. Walk through almost any Japanese home and you'll notice fabric panels hanging in doorways where a door would normally be. These are Noren curtains, and they're doing far more work than they appear to be. A Noren is a short, split curtain that hangs in a doorway, typically divided into 2 or 3 vertical panels. They originate from ancient Japan, where shops used them to signal they were open for business and to display their family crest or trade symbol. Inside the home, they serve as soft dividers between rooms, creating a sense of separation without blocking airflow or light. They're used at kitchen entrances to contain cooking smells, in hallways to add privacy, and in open plan spaces to define areas without building walls. They're also easy to swap out seasonally. Lightweight fabrics in summer, heavier ones in winter. It's interior design that's both genuinely practical and quietly beautiful, with a single hanging piece of fabric solving multiple problems at once. Number 5. The Ofuro bath stool and bucket. Right next to the Ofuro bathtub, you'll find something that most Western bathrooms don't have at all. A small, low stool and a wooden or plastic bucket positioned near the floor-level shower tap. This setup is where the actual washing happens. In Japan, you never enter the bathtub to clean yourself. The bath is purely for soaking and relaxing. Before you get in, you sit on the low stool, use the handheld shower, and wash your entire body thoroughly at floor level. The low stool makes this genuinely comfortable because it positions you right where the shower tap sits, giving you full access without any awkward reaching or twisting. The bucket is used to rinse off remaining soap and pour a final rinse of clean water over yourself before stepping into the tub. It's a completely logical system once you understand it. The bathtub stays clean, the experience stays relaxing rather than functional, and nothing about it feels rushed. Number 6. Butsudan Buddhist altar. In many Japanese homes tucked into a dedicated corner of the living room, or set inside a quiet alcove, sits a wooden cabinet that most visitors don't immediately recognize. When you open its doors, you find candles, incense, small offerings of food and flowers, and a photograph. This is the Butsudan, a home Buddhist altar used to honor deceased family members and maintain a spiritual connection between the living and their ancestors. Every morning, many Japanese families open the Butsudan doors, light incense, ring a small bell, place a fresh offering of rice or tea, and say a brief prayer before starting their day. It's not considered strange or morbid. It's considered respectful and completely normal. The idea is that your ancestors remain a part of the household and deserve daily acknowledgement. In a world where grief is often quietly set aside, the Butsudan gives loss a permanent, dignified place inside the home. Not hidden away, but present. Number 7. The Tatami room. Somewhere in a traditional Japanese home, there's usually at least one room where the floors are completely different from everything else. No hardwood, no carpet, no tiles. Just tatami, and the moment you step onto it, you immediately understand why Japan never gave it up. Tatami mats are made from compressed rice straw covered in woven rush grass. They're firm but slightly springy underfoot, and they carry a distinct, clean, grassy scent that many Japanese people associate directly with the feeling of home. The tatami room serves multiple purposes throughout a single day. Remove the furniture and it becomes a bedroom. Add cushions and a low table and it becomes a dining room. Clear it entirely and it becomes a space for meditation, yoga, or martial arts practice. The floor itself becomes the furniture. It's a room that changes completely depending on what you need, without changing anything about the room itself. Number 8. Zabuton floor cushions. Connected directly to both the tatami room and the kotatsu is something you'll find folded in almost every Japanese living space. The zabuton, a large, flat floor cushion designed specifically for sitting at ground level for extended periods. Western furniture is built around chairs and sofas. Japanese living has historically been built around the floor, and the zabuton is what makes that genuinely comfortable rather than just traditional. They're typically square, filled with cotton batting, and considerably thicker and wider than a standard cushion. They support the hips and lower back when sitting cross-legged or on your knees, which is the natural position for using low tables, eating at a chabudai, or sitting within the warmth of a kotatsu. What makes them particularly clever is how easily they stack and store. When guests leave, the cushions fold away in seconds. There's no rearranging furniture, no folding out extra chairs. The floor is the seating, and the Zabuton is simply what makes it comfortable. Number 9. The Kagami mochi display. Around New Year, something unusual appears in Japanese homes that most outsiders find immediately puzzling. 2 round mochi rice cakes stacked on top of each other, with a small bitter orange balanced on top, sitting on a decorative stand near the front of the home or beside the Butsudan altar. This is the Kagami mochi, and it's one of Japan's most recognizable New Year traditions. The word Kagami means mirror, referencing the ancient bronze mirrors that were once considered sacred objects in Japanese culture. The round shape of the mochi is meant to reflect that same circular form. The 2 stacked layers represent the outgoing and incoming year. The orange on top, called a daidai, carries a name that also means generation to generation in Japanese, making it a symbol of family continuity. It stays on display until January 11th, when families traditionally break it open and eat the mochi in a hot soup called zoni. Even the way you break it matters. You never cut it. Cutting is considered bad luck. Number 10. Japanese incense burner. Long before scented candles became a lifestyle product, Japan had already perfected the art of filling a home with fragrance through a practice called kodo, which translates directly as the way of fragrance. The incense burner found in many Japanese homes, called a koro, is a small ceramic or metal vessel filled with ash into which a stick or cone of incense is placed. But in traditional practice, the incense itself isn't burned. It's gently heated so the scent rises without producing smoke or flame. Japanese incense is formulated differently from most Western varieties. It's typically made from natural ingredients like aloes wood, sandalwood, and clove, producing a scent that's quieter, more complex, and significantly less overpowering. The practice is considered calming and meditative. Many Japanese households burn incense at the Butsudan altar in the morning as part of the daily ritual of honoring their ancestors. But it's also simply used to make a room smell quietly beautiful without announcing itself. Number 11. The Tsuitate room screen. In a Japanese home, privacy doesn't always require a wall. Sometimes it only requires a single, beautifully crafted panel, standing freely in a room. And that's exactly what a Tsuitate is. A Tsuitate is a freestanding single-panel screen, typically made from a lacquered wooden frame with a painted or fabric center. Unlike a folding screen, it doesn't expand. It stands alone, positioned strategically to block a sightline, divide a space, or simply add a layer of visual separation between two areas of a room. They were historically placed at entrances to prevent guests from seeing directly into a home upon entry, offering immediate privacy without requiring a closed door. Inside, they're used to section off a dressing area, shield a workspace, or frame a particular corner of the room. What makes the Tsuitate genuinely practical is how easily it moves. There's no installation, no hardware, no permanent commitment. You simply place it where you need it and move it when you don't. Number 12. Kamidana Shinto Shelf. High up on a wall in some Japanese homes, positioned deliberately above eye level and near the entrance or in the main living area, you'll find a small wooden shelf holding miniature shrine objects. This is the Kamidana, which translates simply as God Shelf. The Kamidana is a Shinto household shrine, used to honor the kami. The spirits or deities that Shinto belief holds are present in all living things and natural phenomena. The shelf typically holds a small shrine structure called a miya, along with offerings of rice, salt, water, and sometimes a sacred rope called shimenawa to mark the space as spiritually significant. Each morning, many Japanese families refresh the offerings, clap twice, bow, and offer a brief prayer, much like the Buddhist ritual at the Butsudan, but rooted in Japan's indigenous Shinto tradition rather than Buddhism. Many Japanese homes have both a Kamidana and a Butsudan, practicing both religions simultaneously without any perceived contradiction. In Japan, the two belief systems have coexisted naturally for over 1,000 years. Number 13. The Genkan shoehorn. Right at the front of every Japanese home is a space called the Genkan, a dedicated entryway that sits slightly lower than the rest of the house floor. Before you step up into the main living space, you remove your shoes here without exception. It's one of the most deeply ingrained rules in Japanese domestic culture, and hanging quietly beside that step or tucked into a small stand near the door is a shoehorn. In the West, a shoehorn is a fairly niche item. In Japan, it's an everyday essential because of how frequently shoes are removed and put back on. Slip-on shoes are preferred precisely because of this routine, but a long-handled shoehorn makes the transition effortless regardless of the shoe type. The Genkan keeps the home spotlessly clean by containing all outdoor dirt and bacteria at the door. The shoehorn ensures that entering and leaving is smooth, fast, and requires no bending down to wrestle with your footwear. Together, they form one of the most practical entrance systems in any home anywhere. Number 14. Japanese emergency bag. In a country that sits on one of the most seismically active regions on Earth, preparedness isn't paranoia, it's common sense. And in many Japanese homes hanging near the front door or stored in an easily accessible place, you'll find a dedicated emergency bag called a hijo bukuro. This isn't a rough collection of supplies thrown into a backpack. It's a carefully curated kit, often pre-packaged and sold specifically for this purpose, containing several days of emergency rations, water purification tablets, a first aid kit, an emergency blanket, a whistle, a torch, a portable radio, and sometimes even a waterproof copy of important documents. Japan experiences hundreds of earthquakes every year. Major disasters like the 1995 Kobe earthquake and the 2011 Tohoku earthquake have shaped a national culture of readiness that filters all the way down to what families keep by their front door. The idea that every household should have one is so normalized in Japan that emergency bags are sold in convenience stores, home goods shops, and online with specific contents recommended by local governments. Its preparation treated as basic household infrastructure. Number 15. The Ofuro bathtub lid. In most Western bathrooms, when you're done with your bath, you drain it, and that's the end of it. In Japan, that would be considered wasteful in more ways than one. The Ofuro is Japan's deep soaking bath, designed for full-body immersion rather than washing. But the part that surprises most visitors is the rigid lid that sits over the top of it. It's a segmented cover made from wood, resin, or insulated panels, and it exists for one specific reason: to keep the water hot. In Japanese homes, the same bathwater is often used by the entire household, one person after another, with everyone washing themselves thoroughly at the shower station before ever stepping in. The lid keeps the water at temperature between each person's turn for hours without reheating. It's a system built around respect, efficiency, and shared resources. The bathwater stays clean, stays hot, and absolutely nothing is wasted. Number 16. The Tansu chest. Before built-in wardrobes became standard in modern homes, Japanese families stored everything in a tansu, and in many homes today, particularly older ones, a tansu still stands against the bedroom wall, doing exactly the job it's always done. A Tansu is a traditional Japanese stepped or stacked chest of drawers, typically made from paulownia wood and fitted with ornate iron hardware. They were designed in the Edo period specifically for storing folded kimono, which require flat, careful storage rather than hanging. What makes a tansu genuinely remarkable as a piece of furniture is the wood it's traditionally made from. Paulownia is one of the lightest hardwoods in the world. It's also naturally resistant to moisture, insects, and fire, making it almost uniquely well-suited to storing valuable fabric over long periods. Many tansu pieces are over 100 years old and still completely functional. They were built to last generations, designed with interlocking joints rather than nails, and finished in ways that allow the wood to be restored rather than replaced. It's furniture built with the assumption that your grandchildren will use it. Number 17. Engawa veranda. Most Western homes have a garden that you walk out into. Traditional Japanese homes have a space in between, a narrow wooden veranda that wraps around the exterior of the home, sitting at floor level and connecting the interior directly to the garden without fully committing to either. This is the Engawa, and it functions as one of the most thoughtfully designed transitional spaces in any domestic architecture. The Engawa is neither inside nor outside. You can sit on its edge with your legs hanging toward the garden. You can slide open the paper screens behind you and let the breeze move through the entire home on a summer afternoon. In winter, the screens close and the Engawa acts as an insulating buffer between the cold exterior and the warm interior. Traditionally, it was also a social space. Guests who weren't being formally invited inside would be received on the Engawa, offering hospitality without full entry into the private home. It's a space designed around the idea that the boundary between inside and outside doesn't need to be an abrupt wall. It can be gradual, comfortable, and genuinely beautiful. Number 18. The Chabudai low table. Before the kotatsu became the dominant piece of furniture in the Japanese living room, the Chabudai was at the center of almost every household meal. And in many homes, particularly those with tatami rooms, it still is. A Chabudai is a low, round, or rectangular table with short folding legs, designed for use while seated on the floor. The legs fold flat underneath, allowing the table to be stored against a wall or in a closet when not in use. This collapsible design means the room it's used in can serve an entirely different purpose the rest of the time. The dining room and the living room are the same room. The furniture appears when it's needed and disappears when it isn't. Meals eaten at a Chabudai are taken at floor level, cross-legged on Zabuton cushions, with everything close and communal. There's no head of the table, no hierarchy of seating. Everyone sits at the same height, close to the same surface. It's a piece of furniture that makes shared meals feel genuinely equal. Number 19. Kakejiku hanging scroll. On the wall of a tatami room or inside the tokonoma, which is the small recessed alcove that forms the most important display space in a traditional Japanese room, you'll often find a single hanging scroll. Just one, and whatever is on it, whether a painted landscape, a calligraphed poem, or a single ink brushstroke, is the visual centerpiece of the entire space. This is the Kakejiku, and the way it's used reveals something important about how Japan thinks about interior decoration. Western interiors tend to fill walls. Art is hung in groups. Frames go side by side. Surfaces get covered. Japanese interior design, particularly in the traditional tatami room, works from the opposite principle. One carefully chosen object receives all the attention. Everything else steps back. The Kakejiku is also changed seasonally. A winter scroll depicting snow gives way to a spring scroll showing cherry blossoms. The room's entire mood shifts with a single swap, without moving any furniture or repainting anything. It's decoration as a living practice rather than a fixed decision. Number 20. Maneki-neko lucky cat. You've almost certainly seen one before. The small ceramic or plastic cat with one paw raised, sitting near a cash register, on a shelf, or in a window. But there's considerably more to the Maneki-neko than most people outside Japan realize. Maneki-neko translates as beckoning cat, and the raised paw is a gesture of invitation, drawing good fortune, customers, or positive energy toward the home or business. The left paw raised invites customers and people. The right paw raised invites money and good luck. Some figures have both paws raised, which in modern slang is sometimes said to look like a surrender, though traditionalists consider it a sign of maximum fortune. The color also matters. White is the classic, representing general good luck. Gold is specifically for wealth. Black wards off evil. Red is for health and protection from illness. Inside a Japanese home, the Maneki-neko is placed near the entrance or in the kitchen, welcoming positive energy into the space. It's part superstition, part tradition, and entirely embedded in Japanese daily culture, taken seriously and smiled at in equal measure. Number 21. The Washitsu Tatami Guest Room. A Washitsu is a fully traditional Japanese-style room. Tatami mat flooring, paper sliding doors called shoji, a tokonoma alcove for displaying art or flowers, low furniture, and walls finished in natural materials like clay plaster. Every element of the room follows centuries-old design principles rooted in simplicity, natural materials, and deliberate restraint. In modern Japanese homes, even those that are otherwise completely contemporary, many families preserve at least one washitsu. It becomes the guest room, the tea ceremony room, the space where New Year is celebrated, or simply the room where the family sits together on the floor and feels most connected to who they are. What makes it extraordinary isn't any single object inside it. It's the way the entire room functions as a complete sensory experience. The softness of the tatami underfoot, the smell of the rush grass, the light diffused through washi paper screens, the quietness of a space with no hard surfaces to reflect sound. It's a room designed not for productivity or storage or efficiency, but purely for being present. And in a world that increasingly struggles with exactly that, it might be the most quietly radical thing hidden inside a Japanese home. If you want to see more amazing things Japan is doing better than the rest of the world, then like and subscribe. And make sure to watch the video on your end screen. It's packed with even more hidden things